Since starting this channel, not a year has gone by without a trip to Colorado. There's something about the majestic mountains and colorful trees that is instantly relaxing, and it keeps bringing us back. You'd think by now that we'd know what we're doing, but this time was different. We were doing something completely new, something we were told was impossible. We were overlanding with a baby. According to some YouTube comments we got, as soon as you have a baby, your traveling days and your overlanding days are over. So we are here in Colorado to test that out with our 12-week-old baby boy here. And I will admit things have been a little more difficult already. Even just getting here took twice as long as usual because we constantly had to stop, get him out, let him stretch, feed him, hour breaks every 2 hours. So it took a lot longer. We're also going slower because we were flat towing my wife's Jeep, which you can see behind me. We're bringing it out here for my friends Conrad and Steph to borrow because they're gonna join us for the week. So right now, we have to get packed up and it's going to take a lot longer because we've got a lot more stuff with us, and we're going to head out to the mountains. The mountains we were heading into were the San Juan Mountains in Colorado's southwest.
This is the $1 Million Highway, and it's just incredible views all the way along, but it's definitely not for people who are afraid of heights and steep drop-offs with no guardrails.
It's pretty nice with all like the dotted sort of like trees turning a really orangey yellow as well, just randomly, sporadically throughout the green.
Yeah, this is definitely the best time of year to come visit Colorado. Just pulling over to Air Down.
The San Juan Mountains have a rich mining history, which has not only left behind ghost towns and abandoned mines, but a network of unpaved roads lacing their way through the steep mountains.
The views are just stunning.
You're stunning.
Why, thank you.
County Road 2 winds its way along the Animas River Valley between dozens of 13 to 14,000 foot tall mountains. We were there in mid-October, so the high peaks were covered in early fall snow, while the last few aspen leaves were clinging on in a few patches along the valley floor.
Up ahead is the ghost town called Animas Forks.
Looks really cool.
We made it up to Animas Forks just in time to get a bottle ready and to get our own lunch ready. So we're going to take a look around and show him around. It's a little odd here because when the wind's not blowing and you're in the sun, it's really warm, but as soon as the wind picks up, it's very cold. So we've got him bundled up like that kid in the Christmas Story. Animas Forks is one of the best examples of ghost towns in the area. It was also the very first ghost town I ever visited just 5 years earlier, so it made sense to bring our boy here for his first ghost town. Of course, he's probably a little too young to remember it, so we have the excuse we need to come back in the future. If you want to learn more about Animas Forks and other ghost towns, I'll link my Colorado ghost town video in the description. From Animas Forks, we continued up the mountain. There aren't many places in the world that you can drive up and over mountain passes as impressive and scenic as Engineer Pass, and it's something that Conrad and Steph had never done before. My wife Elizabeth wanted to drive her Jeep, so she switched and Conrad came to drive my truck while I flew the drone.
Just walked right through that.
Show off.
We had read reports that some of the higher and north-facing mountain passes like Imogene had received just enough snow that they were getting sketchy, but not quite enough to close them for the season. We had decided that we would head up the road, but if we came across any significant snow, we'd turn around. Thankfully, the south-facing slope heading up Engineer Pass was almost completely snow-free. Well, we made it to the top and it really wasn't that bad. There's just that one little patch of snow coming down here. So we're gonna head back down again now, past Animus Forks to a campsite that I've been sent. Heading back the way we came meant climbing the small patch of snow, but for once it actually looks worse on camera than it was in person. As we came around the mountain, we had unbeatable views across the Animus Valley.
Aw, are you struggling?
I really didn't want to have to do a 3-point turn. So looking at the clock, if we're going to be at camp by 5, I don't think we have time to do California. So I think we should just go up to the mill and then head back down the way we came.
At the bottom, we decided to make a quick detour to Frisco Mill, which served a couple of the mines in the area. The mill has been standing since 1912. It is in excellent shape when compared to a lot of the other mills in Colorado, but it is starting to see the effects of the San Juan's harsh winters over the last 110 years. Inside, you'll see a lot of the pillars are numbered. The whole mill was prefabricated in Silverton, then transported up to its current location, where the numbers and letters helped with the reconstruction. As the sun started to drop behind the tall mountains, we made our way back down towards our camp for the night, just outside of Silverton. We've just pulled up to camp. It's 6 o'clock, so it's getting late. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do California Gulch. Like I said earlier, everything's just a little bit slower with the baby. So we skipped it and came straight back down to this spot that's just outside of Silverton. It's actually really secluded. We crossed over a creek that's just behind us. I can actually hear it, so that'll be nice to listen to tonight. Good little spot. Got some firewood that someone left us. So we're gonna set up and light the fire. It is an icy morning this morning, but we're able to keep the little guy warm. He's in a thing called a docker tot, which is like a little bed made for infants and newborns. And underneath that, we put a little heating pad. We also have the Propex heater that I set up, and that helps just keep the edge off, because it was below freezing last night, and he would have been pretty cold even with the heating pad. So we're all very comfortable in there. However, I think we're getting a little tired of the cold already. We've been camping, I think this is our 3rd night here in Colorado, even though your first night you've seen it on video. We want to go somewhere a little warmer. So today, we are going to pack up and head towards Utah. Things were a little difficult this morning. First of all, Elizabeth spilt formula all over the inside of the truck. So that was a hot mess. We had to clean that up, and it took forever. And then we tried feeding him, and the water was so cold he didn't like it. But thankfully, we brought this, so we're able to warm it up. Normally he doesn't mind, he's okay with room temperature water or room temperature formula, but I guess when it's close to freezing, he doesn't really appreciate that. We waited for the sun to peek over the mountain and melt some of the ice off the tents before packing them up and heading out through Silverton. short distance north of Silverton is the road to Ophir Pass.
You see off to the left there's a huge area of flattened trees.
Yeah.
That's from an avalanche, and it's probably from an avalanche from this side of the valley.
Do you mind sticking your yellow backlights on, please?
Ophir Pass is distinctive for several reasons. It's usually one of the first high mountain roads to open in the early summer, and at the summit you can drive between huge snowdrifts that are often higher than your vehicle. From there, you go down and take a single sharp switchback before heading out onto a narrow shelf road that crosses a huge and very steep scree slope with dramatic rock formations on either side. As we reached the bottom of the pass, we started getting hungry.
We'll get into Telluride right around lunchtime. Time to feed him if you want to get food there. They have lots of cool little downtown restaurants.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah, we'll probably get food and a second round of coffee. Aeration time.
Yep, time to air up.
We've just made it down to the highway the other side of Ophir Pass, so we're going to air up now and head into Telluride to get some lunch, and then it's on to Moab, where hopefully it's a little bit warmer. On the way to Moab, Conrad and Steph found out that the cheap tent we'd picked up for the trip had a very annoying side effect. Unfortunately, when we got to Moab, the noise wasn't much better. Tonight we're camped at probably one of the least glamorous places I've ever camped. It is an RV park in the middle of Moab, right next to the main road. But there's a very good reason we're here, and it is the laundry facilities that are just there. It is amazing the number of burp cloths you go through when bottle feeding a baby. So we're out. We've got to go clean them all up. But on the bright side, it is nice and warm here. One of the good things about camping where we did, when we were really close to Arches National Park. So we've come out here, got baby strapped to him. He's fussing a little bit, we just fed him. But we're gonna take him out for a hike out to, I think, Sand Dunes Arch, something like that. Which I think he'll enjoy. He'll calm down once we start walking. Tight squeeze through here. He's already asleep. We've barely even entered the trail. Looking around. We ended up doing really well. He loves being carried around like this. He's basically slept the entire time. But now we're gonna head back to the truck because there is an unpaved road out to the next arch. I think it's Tower Arch that we're gonna take, and we're gonna meet up with Conrad and Steph for that one. They'd been hiking Delicate Arch, so weren't too far away. We met up and started out on the 4-wheel drive road to Tower Arch. The road ended up being a little more than we'd bargained for.
That was nice. Very flexy.
I like that.
Usually when a national park says the road is rough, it means like, oh, you might need some all-terrain tires because there's a little bit of gravel. This one's rough.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I just got a low fuel alert. I got about 10 miles range according to the computer.
We've made it to the Tower Arch trailhead, and we've got here with some problems. One of them is that I am pretty low on fuel. I didn't think to fill up before we came into Arches, didn't think this trail was going to be this difficult, didn't think I'd have a problem. So it says the range is about 5 miles, and it's about 30 miles or so back to Moab, but thankfully the Tundra has like 5-6 gallons reserve, so I'm probably going to be burning most of that to get back into Moab. The other problem is a little more difficult to fix. The sway bar link on the back is, well, I'll show you. This is what it's supposed to look like, and this is the one on the left, and then this is the one on the right, which is not straight anymore. So I don't know how I'm gonna get that fixed. That's probably one of those parts that you can't even get right now. So rather than worry about it, I guess we'll just go do this hike. So Tower Arch is that way, and the sign says the hiking trail is that way, and there's a sign that says please stay on the trail, but the trail kind of disappears right around the corner there. So I guess we have to skip it. We can still see the arch, so it's good. We've got a view from here. But now we're gonna try and make it back to Moab by 3 o'clock, because there is a restaurant called Sweet Cravings in downtown Moab that is amazing, but it closes at 3. Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna make it, but we're gonna go. We're gonna try, and if we make it, I'll see you back in Moab. To get back as quickly as possible and to conserve as much fuel as we could, we decided not to stop. That was until
I thought I heard something from back there.
the sway bar link had failed completely, snapping clean in half. The sound coming from the back as the two halves of the link caught on each other was horrendous.
You know, we have a disconnected sway bar now, too.
I joined the club.
It sounds awful. It keeps, like, making noise.
Well, we got here on time, but it's closed anyway. They shut early today. So I guess what we'll do is eat some leftovers, eat some sandwiches, and then go find a place to camp. We ended up hanging around in Moab and grabbing some excellent Mexican food for dinner at Fiesta Mexicana. The sun was setting as we drove along the Colorado River, and by the time we got to camp, it was completely dark. The stars were shining brilliantly by the time the tent was set up, so I decided to do a time-lapse. Watching it back, I spotted several meteors and something a little more strange. Aliens? Or just a helicopter or plane flying around? I'll let you decide. When we came in last night, it was completely dark, but we knew that we were close to the edge of a cliff because the lights were lighting up the ground around us, and then there was just suddenly nothing, just pitch black. So when we woke up this morning, we woke to these incredible views. If you end up coming out here to camp, be careful exactly where you camp. I believe all of the BLM land from the private land up there all the way to the national park is closed to camping, and then the national park itself is obviously closed to camping too, unless you've got a permit and you're in designated sites. This little spot of land is Utah State Trust land, which I believe you can camp on. I looked it up last night and I couldn't find anything that said otherwise, so we're here. Obviously you are responsible for checking your own campsites. Don't copy me and then quote me, but I believe that you can stay here. So all that's left to do now is restock the diaper bag from this huge stash of diapers that I brought with me, pack up the tent, and then we're going to head up Schaefer Trail. Schaefer Trail is one of those roads that I take everyone who's new to Utah up. It's the perfect example of the red rocks and canyons that this part of the world is famous for. It was also recently featured in my top 5 trails of Utah video.
The recent weather events washed away a lot of the silt. I don't remember it being this rocky.
Moab had been hit by several storms in August and early October, flooding downtown and washing out roads and trails across the region. Normally, I'd consider Schaefer Trail to be easy enough for high clearance car or crossover, but there were several areas that had been made much more difficult.
Steph, we're driving up this cliff.
These corners are so tight in this truck.
At the top of Schaefer Trail is Canyonlands National Park, so we've just pulled up in here, gone out to the end where Grand Viewpoint is, because Conrad and Steph wanted to check out the view, so we're going to load up and take a little stroll. We're heading back into Moab now. Hopefully today Sweet Cravings is open. It's currently 1 o'clock, so it should be, because I am really looking forward to a red rock sandwich down there. If you're in the area, if you're in Moab, well worth a visit. It was open. After eating our fill, it was time to start heading east again. Conrad and Steph had a flight to catch from Denver, so we decided to go via the Great Sand Dunes National Park. We are at Great Sand Dunes National Park. We made it here around lunchtime today, ended up camping last night in Durango on the way here from Moab, and when we got here we headed out onto the dunes and we basically made it to the first dune. It's a really small one, but I'm going to count it because I wasn't about to walk all the way up to the top of that thing because those dunes are enormous. So we're airing down now, getting ready to head that way over Medno Pass. Obviously, every year you've got the sand, the very soft sand. I'm ready for that. But this time around, apparently, there's a deep mud crossing that we've got to look out for.
when we get to the soft sand, you'll definitely want to bin 4 low.
The soft sand was not an issue at all, but we were still concerned about the deep creek crossing and mud further up the trail.
Do you guys want to set up camp here and just relax, or do you want to keep going on kind of late?
I mean, if it's good here, then sure. This is pretty premium.
So just turned 5 o'clock and it's time to feed the little one again, and we figured why not just stop and set up camp. That way gives us plenty of time to do all of the many things that we have to do when taking care of a baby. It also means that we're a little bit lower down in elevation. One of the campsites I was aiming for is actually over the top of Medno Pass, which would be a little bit colder. So we're gonna get set up, and I actually figured I should probably video. If you're not interested, you know, I don't normally show a lot of the camping stuff, so if you're not interested, skip ahead. I won't be offended. First step is going to be to get the truck leveled, and then I'll go ahead and set up the tent. Inside the tent, I've just got to inflate the self-inflating mattress that iCamper sells, and then put up the dock tot, the sleeping pad, that kind of thing, just to get him ready, and we'll put him up there around 8 o'clock. For showering on my solo trips, I recently switched to the geyser system because it's really good at saving water. But for this trip, I've switched back to the Julka because it is very convenient. I ordered the hard mount for it, so I'm able to mount it to the bed rack here. I got this case to keep the dust and the mud off it. And it's really useful for washing the bottles because he goes through a ton of them. We're looking like 6 to 8 bottles a day. It's just really convenient having the instant hot water to wash them up at camp. All I need to do is hook it into the propane cylinder that's right here, and then put a hose into the water, which I've stored right there. And then I just put the camp table here and I can wash them up easily. So everything is set up now. I'm not actually going to wash the bottles until 8 o'clock after his 8 o'clock dinner. So for now, it's time to make our own dinner. And because I'm lazy and I'm not very creative with food, we're just doing the regular pasta thing that we've got. It's chicken ravioli in Alfredo sauce. Just bought from Walmart, just heat it up, and it's great food. So the only other thing I've got to do for the night is just prepare some bottles in case he wakes up hungry. So I'll just put some water in the bottle, seal it up, and I've got one of these little containers. It's good for 3 loads of formula, and it's just super easy to dump in the night. It's really convenient. Oh, and some burp cloths because he's a super messy eater. But I'm gonna do that, and we'll see you in the morning. That night, there were no mystery UFOs, but plenty of airplanes, a few satellites, and the occasional meteor from the Orionid meteor shower. The next morning was an early start. We had to be in Denver by mid-afternoon, giving time to complete the pass, or, if necessary, turn around and come back down from the mud pit or really deep water crossing that prompted the warnings at the start of the trail.
This way has been clunking away horribly this entire trail. That was crossing 5. That was supposed to be the one that was really deep. Oh, this might be the mud pit. Although I'd just call it a dry dirt pit at this stage.
The tree blocking the road.
Let's watch them struggle first, and then I'll come along if need be.
That sounds like a plan. There's no way he can lift this.
Oh, look at him go.
Muscle man.
That must have just come down, because we've had several cars pass us this morning, and that was blocking the road completely.
At the top of the pass, we left the National Preserve and entered the San Isabel National Forest. As we dropped back down, we picked up cell phone signal and put Denver International Airport into the navigation. It was time for Conrad and Steph to head back to the UK, and for the rest of us to go back home to Kentucky. The first trip with our baby had been a huge success. We'd really enjoyed taking him to some of the most beautiful places in the US. It wasn't without its challenges. It definitely made the trip slower and filming harder, but we learned a lot, and we've already decided where we're taking him next. If you've been thinking about taking some similar trips, definitely subscribe to the channel to see our next adventure. Honestly though, there's only so much you can learn from us, especially since we don't really know what we're doing and have learned along the way. Your best bet is just to get out there and try it.